Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to tie this. This is a little beetle pattern. This pattern is what caught me my first trout on fly rod. This is the pattern that hooked me on fly fishing, and ever since I've been fly fishing for just about every single species. I've caught bluegill with this thing, I've caught brook trout, cutthroats, rainbows, cut bows, and now that I'm here in Africa, I've caught all sorts of tilapia. I've even caught a couple cichlids on them. It's just an awesome terrestrial fly. Definitely my favorite terrestrial that exists. Okay, we're going to start off with a size 12 hook. And we're using black thread. I'm not quite sure what denier it is. Someone peeled off all the stickers on my thread bobbins, so I have no clue what denier it is, but it's pretty thin but strong. Next I cut some black foam, and I just trim the edges to make a triangle on one side, because that's what I use as the tie-in point. It just makes it thinner and doesn't build as much bulk on the hook. Tie that in at the bend of the hook. Make sure you get it on nice and tight, and that the first wraps you do are nice and straight, because otherwise when you fold over the foam it messes it up. Next is the dubbing. For this one I'm using chocolate brown dubbing, but the nice thing about this pattern is you can just switch up the dubbing for anything you want. I've done different colors of UV dubbing. This is hairline, the hair's ear dubbing, all kinds of dubbings, different colors. Olive works really good, white works really good, natural colors like blacks and browns work really good. I've tried some crazy colors like orange, and I've never done a pink one, but I'm thinking of doing a pink one. But all the colors work. Dub it about halfway up the hook. Then fold over your foam on top, and this is forming the abdomen. Tie it in right behind, do your wraps right behind the dubbing, and just wrap all the butt ends of the foam down nice and flat to the hook shank. And this is where we're going to begin our tie-in of the legs, the head, and the wing cases, and the wings. Next, I take some white poly yarn. You can use pink. I've never used yellow. Yellow might work, but I know pink works pretty good. I just prefer white because it's more natural. Make sure it's slightly sparse. I made mine a little too thick, but it'll still work. The thicker it is, when it gets waterlogged, it's more likely to flip over in the water and be hooked point up, which you might think is good, but no. The profile is no longer the way it should be. Wrap those down tight, spread them out a little bit so that they fan out over the back of the fly. Once you're done with this, it'll stand up pretty straight because it's up against the back of the fly. Once you add the foam wing case, it'll flatten it down a little more and spread it out. Next, I get some silly legs. I'm using olive barred silly legs. You can use black, but I wouldn't go for any bright colors. Just for some reason, that's always managed to scare the fish off. Do duller colors, more browns, olives, blacks, less whites, and bright colors. Tie these in on either side. I just kind of do a loop around and cut it, because it's quicker that way. I don't have to do two pieces in. But get your legs in. You notice I left them long. Trim them at the very end. So more of the now we tie in more of the dubbing that we already had, just to give it the fly bulk. I use chocolate brown, so I'm continuing with chocolate brown. Remember, whatever dubbing color you use, just use that for the rest of the fly, especially on this one. Okay, so dub it all the way to the eye of the hook, and then cut a piece of foam that will be the head and the wing case. This we're going to tie in right over the silly legs, and it's going to push down the poly wing, and the poly yarn, and that will spread it out and give a better wing-like silhouette. and it also adds buoyancy to the fly and helps it float better. So tie it in there. Make sure you're leaving enough that goes over the eye of the hook, so you can tie it in later there. Now I cut a little piece of yellow foam for an indicator, just to make it easier to spot. I use yellow because it's super bright and highly visible. You can use pink. I've seen a lot of people use pink. Orange, just a bright color. It's on top, the fish don't see it as much. Trim it back so it's slightly smaller, because if it is too big, the fish have a chance of seeing it. And then wrap your thread back to the eye of the hook and tie down the rest of the foam to create a head. Make sure these wraps are nice and tight. As always, with foam, if you do not do tight wraps, it will spin on the hook, and that's not good. So now I take out my whip finish tool. I just whip finish the head. This fly is basically done now. All that's left is a little bit of trim up. And honestly, you don't have to do all the trimming. I do the trimming just because I don't like my edges rough. I just take it and trim off the bits of foam that are sticking off, the silly legs, which is important, trim them off. I trim them off just a little longer than the fly, just so that they are hanging in the water. I trim the head and just cut off the straight corners on the two edges, just to make it more round, and that just gives a better profile, I think. But not everybody agrees with me, so whatever. Make sure you cut away the foam around the eye of the hook. I have tied flies and forgotten to do that, and it's really hard to tie them into your tippet later. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you enjoyed this, check out my channel. I've got more fly tying tutorials there. Please comment below whether you would rather see me do more tutorial videos on fly tying or just shorter, quick ties. Yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good day.